it's for my nerdy mind, like let's
feel
just
safe.
answer. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here with darling Lili.
Sure.
And Lili and I know each other through my beautiful daughter, who is pictured behind us. And that is a portrait that Lili created for her birthday, along with some of your incredible crochet on display. So I thought that that's all there was to you until I discovered. What is it that you're studying, dear Lili?
I am studying theoretical physics. A long life dream of.
I am tickled pink by that. I just love how you demonstrate that all things are possible. You can be a skateboarding rock star, a crochet queen, and a theoretical physicist.
It is impossible until it's done.
And you're also like, you love boarding in the ocean, and I mean, you're amazing.
I think you're amazing, Charisse, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
It's mutual adoration.
It is,
so
definitely.
I want to just get right into it, and I want to hear about some of your struggles in terms of, because people will think if they're watching that you're 15. Meanwhile, you had a birthday yesterday. And you turned, do you want to share that?
Let's say some numbers into some variables into my 50s.
Exactement, which is truly incredible. So yeah, what are some of your struggles studying at the moment?
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle was the realizing that I was no longer fresh from high school in every sense.
Shocker.
Yes, in every sense of the way. And but accepting as well that could be a good thing. So I had to struggle to accept that would be a good thing. I actually deal, and to this day, trying to understand and accept that being my age and going back to study, it's not easy, but it's mostly because of my self-judgmental idea of what I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to achieve my academic pathway. And I think that was the worst struggle, dealing with my own insecurities of my age, and obviously carrying insecurities throughout the life as well, that has to surface, like I saw, when we were faced with maths and things that you actually in high school you believe like, okay, I can do it. I was very good at high school. I build this image like, okay, now I'm 50, I can get it done. I'm going for it, and it's not going to be a problem for me to achieve what I want to achieve. I feel stronger about myself. And then when I've been faced with the reality of academic, and it was totally different. It was very scary, and it brought it up on me a reality that I thought I didn't have, like the self-doubting, the realizing how over judgmental I am about myself as also as a woman. I find out that even that was a bit of a doubting my ability also of making through it, as a mom, as being like almost like my past few years was a mom.
She's not just a mom, she's a grandma. I'm finding similar struggles because I'm busy doing my doctoral studies at long last, and I'm also shocked by just how much less energy I have than back in the day. And I'm a healthy, fit person. I know what to do. I try and take care of myself. We do Qigong together, which is very good.
And I love your Qigong, by the way.
Hygiene. Thank you, madam. But I'm finding it, I'm realizing I can't maybe do everything after all, that I do have to make some choices. And that's a difficult, humbling place to find myself in. Yeah.
It's very humbling. Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
It's very humbling. I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I will definitely send him the podcast. You all know I'm talking about Cervantes. And he is lovely, lovely. Also, is my Dutch friend. And I actually said to him, I was totally like confronted with the violence of mathematics and not only mathematics, but it's studying. And that actually made me feel like, am I going to do this? And it put me in the spotlight that was very difficult mentally and then obviously physically, because then I started seeing the amount of work, seeing the amount of times. Am I going to be able to physically do this? Am I going to be able to physically show up for me every morning? And the worst, my friend, I'm not a very structured person. With times, I actually, it's very relative. Time for me, it's very relative.
Oh, please talk about that. So time is one of my obsessions in my own research.
Probably, yeah.
I've just sent you a voice note from the mountain where I was walking, where I was listening to Deleuze and Guattari's 1,000 Plateaus.
Which I can't wait to see.
Oh my God, it's exquisite. And they really very interdisciplinary. So even though I'm in the humanities, they do tackle mathematics and the very fabric of existence in this kind of rhizomatic way, where they say the way that science has traditionally been structured, where you build on previous findings, is a profound flaw. So I think that leads us into something that we're both very intrigued with, which is, for want of a better word, the spiritual realm. And I don't know if you want to riff on that in terms of your physics. How do you marry your knowing around the spiritual experience of being embodied?
Yes, I don't think I would be even searching for that in academic science. Sorry, my English is also not that great, my friend. So my choice of words might not be the best. My English is really bad.
Very Brazilian.
Very Brazilian.
Do you want to say it in Portuguese or Italian or one of your other many languages? Yeah.
Thank you. I wish I could, but
maybe numbers.
Maybe numbers. Numbers would be probably a very comfortable place. But this is what I like about having to challenge myself with the words. It's because I will be confining myself, just like we confine the subject of spirituality, looking into a scientific explanation for it, when I don't truly think that we should be even researching in textbooks from the traditional science, or for the traditional mathematics and everything that the academic world. I mentioned to you earlier about the freedom also of the creative process on scientific research.
Wonderful.
So yes, this is on things I think that also, but I'm a student, so I don't have much, like I would say, authority to even speak about the subject, but I would just say that we are kind of confined in that aspect. I think our spirituality, I profoundly believe in science. I love the simplicity, and this is what it is, and how certain it is. I do love to believe the idea that we already know all the constants of nature that we have, but I'm also a student, so obviously like that for me, I look at it in a way like, okay, it's a lot to study, so if this is all we have, that would be so great, because then we can just but also there's the simplicity. If everything is just there already and we know everything already, we just have to merge it. Great. But now going back to the point of the spirituality, that is something that cannot be confined. I also believe on that we have certain abilities and certain hidden aspects of our consciousness and of our existence that are actually almost out of the scope of science. I don't think there is a particular method of scientific method that can actually able to go into and have a look at it, which is great because it gives it open up for new types of sciences.
Yes, that's exciting.
That
excites me, the
that me
potential.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, because it gives you like, okay, physics might be giving you that wonderful background and explaining very well from the micro to the macro. But when it comes to consciousness, that's when I'm not a neuroscience. I do believe also strongly for my personal experience. So I'm not talking about with any scientific background, but from personal experiences. A little bit of my as a student, but I do believe that consciousness is a phenomena that it exceeds any science. And whatever spiritual phenomena we all experience, certain kinds of either clairvoyance abilities. We all had it in our lives, or that feeling that we had it inside, or sometimes a connection with events that are happening collectively, between people around and conscious around. It comes out of this scope of what we have it here. And I believe the spiritual is linked to consciousness, but knowing in science how little we know about consciousness, so this is where I kind of think the science and the spiritual realm, they have what people pursue to be as a division. But it's not really a division, my friend.
Oh, please speak about that.
Yeah, I just think there isn't the right science or the right tools of scientific approach to the phenomena we experience, because we know so little about consciousness. There is a lot of progress on studies today. I'm not a neuroscientist, or I'm just a physics student, looking for my graduate project program. But we needed a new form of scientific approach for that, for the topic of consciousness. So it's to be a scientist and come and say, okay, I don't believe on an existence of a spiritual realm. When I'm studying physics and maths my entire life, it's inappropriate, I believe.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Because I haven't studied the other side. I know nothing.
When we were chatting yesterday, you mentioned something about the quantum and how everyone's obsessed with the quantum. True story.
Yes.
It's so funny because right after you said it, everything in my newsfeed, quantum this, quantum that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's a profound misunderstanding in the popular culture at the moment.
Yes.
Because you explained something so beautifully to me yesterday around the mechanics of it. And I don't know if you can...
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
We can talk about that. It would be quite
sitting on the edge of my seat. Wisdom.
You have so much wisdom. I usually come to you for wisdom. You're the one that brings my wisdom. Yes, the quantum. People use the quantum word almost like you must just help me with the English choice of words. Like I say, my English choices are not the best, but they will pick up the word and think, okay, it sounds like let's, for instance, the ability of a particle be a wave and a particle at the same time, like light has the duality of light, for instance. Okay, so it can be like a wave phenomenon. And they apply that to what they believe to be either ourselves. But that it's only applicable for the microscopic, wavelength that we're actually dealing on that side. So quantum mechanics does not, it's mechanics, literally, of the quantum world. But it's only applicable for that realm, for that particle, subatomic particle realm of existence, which is also part of us, but it's not fundamentally what we spiritually would do. I believe it. Like now we're trying to mix it both together. So not only talking like as a physics student, but also I'm now talking as myself, in my personal view of the things. So I don't think quantum, when people come talk about quantum healing and quantum experiences, I found that is it's a misconcept. and it's not applicable for the phenomenon, because consciousness itself, I'm going to Roger Penrose again, which I love dearly, but I still wonder, I can't believe that consciousness itself is a quantum mechanical only phenomena, but we get there. But using the quantum word to explain spiritual phenomena it's not correct, because it's only applicable to one realm. And the spiritual phenomena that we experience is actually applicable for what we're experiencing here on the macro world, us as beings, as humans with a certain wavelength, with a certain height. We're not subatomic. We're made out of subatomic particles, but we are not subatomic particles. So it would be inappropriate to do that. And also that you see a lot of discrepancy between not discrepancy, that's not the right word, but would be like almost like tension between the scientific side when they hear are we talking about quantum? It's more a neuroplasticity type of work, I would say. As we actually, I believe truly that we have the ability to change and manifest whatever
it's inevitable.
Absolutely,
so
we
this
can.
comes back to my favorite principles.
Yes, I am
of lived experience through meditation,
That's right.
Qigong, of the law of impermanence, anicca. I probably mention this in every podcast because I think it's so crucial to making peace with existence. Otherwise you're in the way. So when you were talking now, I was thinking of Karen Barat, because she's really big amongst feminist new materialists, of which I'm trying to become one. Very much also a student at this point. But she wrote an exquisite book called Meeting the Universe Halfway. And so she uses those, that what you discussed of the wave and the particle, and to apply it to a way of looking at the world diffractively, of reading things from in between, rather than that kind of Descartesian sort of the mind knows best and very structured, very cold. And Deleuze and Guattari much the same. They kind of wanted to be more organic, so more effortless in terms of our being here and interpreting what's here, or as we perceive it through the senses. And the senses, of course, are limited. I don't know if there's anything that this is bringing up for you.
A lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me know.
Existence is organic.
Yeah.
So it should be just very natural that we have that ability to, maybe I'm not understanding my language barrier again, but it could be like, I see that existence is it's very organic, and it's supposed to be very fluid, we tended to even say, okay, this is a spiritual phenomenon. But what is a spiritual phenomenon? It might be a very much part of our senses that we're not using, and we're confining in the name of spirituality, but it's actually not. We actually might be just getting access to a part of us through meditation, through qigong, to a self-awareness type of work that I wouldn't.
I call it the spidey senses.
Yes,
we use it too.
The extra, it could be easily an extra sense that we actually, with an evolutionary process, for some reason, which I always believe religions and things of a kind, were able to suppress it. Teaching us
violence,
teaching us to suppress the side that is actually very empowering and very, it could open up for such new realms of sciences and things that it's everything. So there is a realm of our consciousness that we actually are able to change the structure of our, I wouldn't say a physical structure, because that would be really but we actually are a soul type of structure of our reality and existence.
I felt it. I mean, when you do long sits like on Vipassana, 10-day, all day, every day, I felt, I thought it was my atoms reconfiguring. Like I literally was jolting with this kind of restructuring that was going on. But I love that you say it's in another realm. So, because when I've experienced those amazing, like golden light experiences through meditation, I've always thought what I'm experiencing is the dancing atoms. People call it different things, the divine light, samadhi, that bliss of oneness with the light that everything is. I don't know. Anything you want to add to that?
It could easily be that you are actually now emanating, like, this vibration.
Okay, talk about vibration.
What's your
because for me the
surroundings and then
so I don't feel like it's me emanating.
Matter vibrates all the time.
Yeah.
Matter vibrates it all the time. In fact, matter is a vibrational state. It is on the fields. But
that's what I feel in
yes.
Qigong and I very quickly feel that dissolution of a separate self. Because the great suffering in the Tibetan Buddhist medicine Buddha mantra, Teyata Om Bekanze Bekanze Maha Bekanze. So it's the suffering of the body, the suffering of the mind, but the great suffering is this illusion of separation.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's why I love the practices like Qigong and meditation, because very quickly one loses the sense of separation.
That's yes. I think somehow separation is also a physical idea that we have it. For instance, I look at my body and I think, okay, I'm inside here, I'm confined to this. There's no for me to come to you. I have to drive my car and
what a nuisance.
Yes, and do my things that I just can't just appear here.
Yes.
But meanwhile, separation is a physical illusion.
Yeah.
I always think if I go into field theory and I haven't been yet studying field theory as a student, so I'm not going to even venture to say much in next. My professor's going to watch this podcast.
Brain you.
They're like, yes.
Oh God.
So hi, Felix. You're going to be watching this. But it is. I believe that consciousness goes above this. Fields, and again, my personal belief, I'm not saying that that's what I learned in university and not claiming that science teaches that either. It's a personal belief through experiences and a little bit of knowledge that I have in science. I still have a long way to cover, so I do have a bit of knowledge in science, but not enough as a professor. Trying to get a good mark here. But my friend, I believe that we don't have literally like a consciousness does not have body. Consciousness leads this body to do certain things. And the body obeys laws of physics, just like the universe obeys the laws of physics. There's nothing I can do. If I do throw myself under a bus, I will get injured. No matter how much meditation I will do that.
Experiments where the body starts to react to something before the mind has even.
That's the thing.
I just love those.
This is what I always believe, that the mind is not confined to the existence that we actually live it in here. So this is why it's so hard to confine consciousness in science. It's like caging consciousness, just trying to explain it with variables and things that we have it here with constants, and it's something that doesn't actually really set on it, because the ability to observe and the ability to learn, it's quite something that is in its own is extremely magical.
Oh yes. Amen, sister.
So there we go. Yes, that we as the observer do not need to experience a description. The scientific aspect of it, it gives us the description of the object, for instance, the chair.
Mm.
But we are the people experiencing the chair. We are actually now, I'm sitting in the chair, I'm exerting a force on the chair is exerting a force on me, and I'm experiencing all of that happening. So I do not need a branch of science to tell me what I'm experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a total different lab. I am a different lab than my physics lab. The physics lab gives me the description of what the chair is and the normal force and gravity and, and all the forces acting together. But I myself, I'm a different lab. I'm observing this. I'm feeling, I'm experiencing. And that is, for me, quite fundamental.
Oh my God, it's everything.
It's quite fundamental because we almost like we have a reality, a kind of a description of it. We don't really have a full description of reality, but we have a kind of a description of the reality. But our experience, it's much more than what science has to offer at the moment. So it gives you a description of, like I say, on the quantum world, on the field world, on every other aspect, but our existence as a spiritual being, science hasn't yet touched that. Maybe it will soon, and I think it seems to be walking in that direction. If you watch Closer to Truth, with Robert, most of the talk, it's about conscious. The whole idea is conscious. So maybe on that direction, yes, it will happen. But we have to also understand that this experience that we have with the spiritual phenomena or the soul phenomena or conscious phenomena, or whatever we wanted to call, with, higher consciousness as God, as the universe, or as our higher self, or everything we want to call, it's big, it's broad and bigger than the description that science gives us of the real, the reality of what we actually experience in every day. I fully believe that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put together and say, okay, this is a quantum mechanical phenomena, there is the quantum healing, there is the quantum. No, it is not. The quantum mechanic phenomena is actually almost like confined to a quantum mechanic realm. We're not.
Break on free to the other side.
There we go. Yes. I love that.
That's excellent. No, perfect, my darling.